I negate the resolution. My value for the realm will be justice, the quality of being just or fair. Justice is the best value for today because it is prescribed in the resolution itself. You have to have justice to uphold other values. Justice offers rights and equality, which other values rely on. Most societies that exist in the world today strive to achieve justice in one form or another. My criterion will be upholding the social contract, an implicit agreement among people that results in the organization of society. Individuals surrender liberty in return for protection. We need the social contract because it is the source of justice and allows members of society to have rights. We need the social contract to prevent this from happening. Contention 1. Animals are excluded from the social contract. Subpoint A. Feenberg in 1986. Well-trained dogs sometimes let their master down. They anticipate punishment or other manifestations of displeasure. They'll grovel and whimper and even make crude efforts at the condition to associate manifests of displeasure with departure from the norm. And this is a useful way of keeping them in line. But they haven't the slightest inkling of reasons for the norm. For the norm. They don't understand why departures from the norm are wrong, or why their masters become angry or disappointed. They have a concept perhaps of mala prohibita, the act that is wrong because it is prohibited, but they have no notion of the mala in se, the act that is prohibited because it is wrong. Even in respect to the mala prohibita, their understanding is grossly deficient, for they have no conception of rightful authority. For dogs, the only basis of their master's right to be obeyed is the de facto power over them. Even when one master steals a beast from another, or when an original owner deprives it or its natural freedom from in wild, the animal will feel no moralized emotion such as outrage, indignation. Animals cannot distinguish the way different things are right and wrong. If you do not know what is right and wrong, you will not be able to uphold the social contract because you cannot weigh their actions to respect others' rights. The social contract is based around the idea of respecting each other's rights, so it is a vital part of it. Without this, they will not be able to be in society. Subpoint B. Nature causes animals to not be in society. Marilyn in 2004. Consider the following worlds. World 1, 500 lions starve. 500 lambs reign happily. World 2, 500 lions are satiated and 500 lambs are mangled. World 1 and 2, in a utilitarian perspective, are equivalent. The lion and the lamb cannot move in behind the veil of ignorance because the former cannot realize its own good without eating the latter. An animal rights advocate would never know how to negotiate behind such a veil. A would-be lion must participate in the deliberations in ways that would undermine the welfare of a would-be lamb, and vice versa. Deliberation would become even more hopelessly intricate when factoring in all life forms sharing the ecosystem within which justice is due to be realized. A veiled animal advocate would have to say mute to avoid self-contradiction. Animals do not understand and compute how to weigh the consequences of their actions. For example, when behind the veil of ignorance, they can think off instinct and therefore only think of themselves and cannot respect others' rights. Without this, they cannot uphold their social contract because they would just kill other animals without thinking of them or their rights. It is also too hard to include animals in a utilitarian models because of the fact they cannot weigh the life of one animal versus another. Subpoint C. Animals are excluded from the conception of justice, Rawls in 1971. No account is given of the right conduct in regard to animals and the rest of nature. A conception of justice is but one part of a moral view. While I have not maintained that the capacity for a sense of justice is necessary in order to be owed the duties of justice, it does seem that we are not required to give strict justice anyway to creatures lacking this capacity, but it does not follow that there are no requirements at all in regard to them, nor in their relations with the natural world. They are outside of the scope of theory of justice, and it does not seem possible to extend the contract doctrine to include them in a natural way. There is no way for animals to fit in the theory of justice, and therefore have no ability to participate in the social contract and uphold it. We need justice to offer the correct rights to members of society. Social contract needs to be in place for justice for members of society to have rights. Animals are excluded from the social contract. So now moving on to my opponent's case. On his value of justice, we need social contract to even get justice, because without the social contract, we're not going to be able to have an even playing field for everyone. It's not going to be fair for everyone because we're going to have people be able to infringe upon other people's rights, which is not justice because you have to have fairness. So you need social contract to have this fairness. Contention 1. It talks about animals that they feel pain and they show signs of it. Well, that is very true, but we cannot harm our human rights. There are many people millions of people in Africa that rely on meat, and there's Inuits that hunt meat and rely on meat. This is their prime way of accessing, and this is their only way they can live. And it's all right if animals have this pain. We understand that they have pain. It doesn't matter. We cannot infringe upon our human rights first. Our human rights are the ones that are valued even more than animal rights. So we have to look to not infringe upon our rights first. They can come up to us, but we cannot bend down to them. Contention 2 is as animals testing is bad, but by Love Seaman, who's a phenomenon disease specialist. 70%, there's a 70% chance in 2 to 5 years we're going to have a pandemic, and we need to try something. We can't just sit here and not do anything about this. We've got to take action no matter which way it does, and even if it does harm these animals, we still have to take this action because we have a pandemic and it's time to start acting on it. We're going to have a big chance to have a huge problem that's going to lead to human extinction. And so talking about it doesn't work is we have to try something. We have to continue through this. And same with it's bad science. We have to do something if we don't, unless you just want to go completely extinct for no reason. And animal research is not successful. It has been successful a few times, and we have to continue to try and be able to stop the pandemic from happening. And on the criterion, equal consideration of interests. Well, equal consideration of interest in not giving justice because we need the social contract first. So social contract overrides the equal consideration of interest to even achieve our value, which is both justice.
All right, I'm going to get some prep time.